Hi, welcome back to the studio home of the Rubicon project. I've not done a video for ages. I've been through this massive refurbishment of the studio where I've pretty much changed everything, but that's the next video. Today I want to talk to you about this guitar. It's an incredible story. I bought it 42 years ago. Then I stupidly sold it 39 years ago. Against all the odds, and with a special thanks to social media, I was able to not only track this guitar down, I repatriated it and brought it back to my home just nearly about a year ago. Last April it was actually. So today I want to tell you the story of this fabulous guitar. I bought this guitar in 1984 and I only have one picture of it, and that was in my student flat in Aberdeen. And I bought it from Sound Control in Dunfermline. This was the guitar that really helped me become a proper guitar player. I did most of my hard learning on this instrument. But as my playing ability progressed, I was increasingly playing a lot of material that required a tremolo. I was playing Gary Moore, Iron Maiden, Bon Jovi, you know, it was basically classic 1980s big rock. And a lot of it used the tremolo. And the other one that really is worthy of a mention is Rush and Alex Lifeson. He was a massive influence on me. And in this era, it was the time of Signal's Grace Under Pressure. He was doing a lot of tremolo work. So I decided that I really needed somehow to get a tremolo. So this guitar is a Yamaha SG1000S. There's lots of debates about what the S stands for, but the differences between this and a regular SG1000 is that this guitar has a thinner body, it's a lot more slimline, thinner neck, narrower neck profile, and the neck is rosewood. So just at the time I decided I needed a tremolo, I saw this ad in a guitar magazine, and it was for a Washburn Wunderbar. This tremolo system didn't require any routing. And the way that it's fitted to the guitar is it comes with this optional mounting plate. So basically you mount the mounting plate to the body, and then the tremolo sits on top. I decided I wanted one of these, so I took the guitar back to where I originally bought it from, Sound Control in Dunfermline, and I bought a Washburn Wunderbar and I asked them to fit it for me, which they did. And that's how the guitar ended up in this configuration. I absolutely loved it. I played it loads. I mean, I was playing this thing all of the time in my student flats whenever I got a chance. The tremolo system worked an absolute treat. It's rock solid for tuning. It is a big piece of real estate, but that's the price you pay for not having to have it routed and inside the body to some degree. Then I did something stupid. I succumbed to the lure of the Super Strat, because that's what everybody was playing. When the reality was that what I already had was pretty much perfect for me. So I ended up trading this guitar in to buy a Fender HM Strat, which was a decent guitar. After I bought it, I suddenly started finding that I wasn't as comfortable with it as I was with this. And the Kahler tremolo system that was on it wasn't as solid as the tremolo system that's on here, this Washburn Wunderbar or Shift 2001. It came by two different names. So after that first mistake, I've now owned something like 67 guitars in my lifetime. But I always wished that I hadn't sold this one. I thought I'd love to get that Yamaha back, but realised there was absolutely no chance that I was ever going to see this guitar again. How wrong I was. Many years passed. You know, this guitar's been out of my possession for nearly 40 years. And about 2 years ago, I was visiting some friends in Newcastle, and I did what I always do. I go into the local guitar shop, which there was Guitar. And hanging on the wall was something very, very special. It was this. Now this is a 1998 Yamaha SG1000 reissue. It was made to the exact same specs as the original SGs, but it was a limited edition run as part of one of the anniversaries of the guitar. So I saw this. It had been owned by a collector, so it was in absolute mint condition, and I bought it. It's also a fabulous guitar, but it's different from my original SG1000 because this is a standard SG. So the body on this is much thicker. It's a heavy piece of real estate. It has all the gold hardware. The neck is ebony, not rosewood. But it's an absolutely fabulous guitar, and I was absolutely delighted because I thought the thing that would never happen, which was that I'd get my hands on a really, really good condition Yamaha SG1000. So I did what a lot of people do. I decided to try and find out more about this guitar and some of the history of the Yamaha model. So I joined a Yamaha SG enthusiast group on Facebook. In fact, I joined 2 groups on Facebook. It was due to this Facebook group that something magical happened. Someone posted a picture of an SG1000 like this, very similar colour as well, to which they had fitted a Washburn Wonder Bar. So I immediately commented that I'd done something similar, and it was nice to see that somebody had the same idea, but that I had stupidly sold my guitar because it was a black SG1000 and I sold it to Sound Control in Dunfermline in 1986. And it turned out I wasn't the only one that had done this. There was a lot of discussion about how other people had done similar things and the differences between the tremolo system that I had on mine and the Shift 2001, which was really just an own-label version of the Washburn Wonder Bar. Then this comment appeared, and it basically said, "Oh, I bought a black SG1000S that had a Washburn Wonder Bar fitted from Sound Control in Dunfermline in 1986. And I just thought, what an incredible coincidence. But it can't possibly be my guitar. So I sent him a couple of DMs and said, would you mind sending me a picture of the guitar? Now this is all within 30 minutes of seeing that original post of the SG1000 with the Washburn Wonder Bar. And then the picture came through. And I looked at it and I thought, if that isn't my guitar, it's identical. And the chances of 2 of those guitars with Washburn Wonder Bars fitted being in Sound Control in 1986 must be just so small it's ridiculous. So we stayed in contact with a lot of discussions backwards and forwards. He told me about how he'd bought the guitar in 86 and he'd played it as part of a band for a couple of years, but then he'd basically stopped playing, bought another guitar, and that guitar had sat in his garage for the next, 30 years, however long it was, an incredible amount of time. So that's why the guitar was in such similar condition to how it was when I left it. So we had a number of discussions and I eventually convinced them to sell it back to me. What was also interesting was that this chap lived in Aberdeen. He'd bought the guitar when he lived in Stirling, from Sound Control in Dunfermline, because that was obviously quite local. But he now lived in Aberdeen. And Aberdeen was where I played this guitar, because that's where I went to college. It was student flats in Aberdeen that I lived in when I played this guitar. So that was just a remarkable coincidence. So I went up to Aberdeen, we met up, had a nice long chat, told me all about the history of the guitar. He told me a lot about the history of him having the guitar and how he played it. And I decided I was going to buy it. I thought it was sheer nostalgia, that I would just buy it and it would probably just sit around for a few years until I decided that I really only wanted one guitar, and I would end up with the guitar that I started playing with. So I would end my guitar career with the same guitar that really kick-started it all those years ago. Spent a lot of work on it because it was quite old, and time had taken its toll. A lot of the gold hardware had been worn off, a lot of the screws, because it had been played live, the acidity of the sweat had taken off some of the lacquer and stuff like that. So what I basically did was I replaced all of the screws with new gold ones, except the pickup screws, because you can't really do anything with them. But the pickup covers and the gold mounting screws I replaced, gave it a good polish, cleaned it right up, so the guitar was almost back to its original condition. Then I had an idea. I saw an advert for the new Boss VG800. And it's like this virtual guitar system. And I thought, what if I install a Boss VG pickup on this guitar and use this as a songwriting guitar? This is another Washburn Wonder Bar. I bought this from eBay because I decided that because these things are out of production, they're no longer made, if anything happens to this guitar becomes redundant. So I bought a second Washburn Wonder Bar so that I have either a straight replacement or spare parts that I can use to repair this one. And it's interesting because the Washburn Wonder Bar is like a self-contained unit. So you fit the backing plate onto the guitar, and then this just screws onto the backing plate, which is fitted to the guitar. By coincidence, there are two screws here and here that fit this onto the mounting plate, and another two screws at the rear. But the placement of the two screws on the front of this exactly lines up with the placement of the two screws on the VG800 pickup. There's a special mounting bracket that you get, and it's designed to mount on Gibson Les Pauls. This was designed to mount on Gibson Les Pauls. So the mounting plate for the VG800 pickup, literally all I had to do was fit it underneath here, put the screws in, and then the mounting plate is basically fitted to the guitar. It's 100% stable and then never moves again. So now I have effectively two guitars in one. The main output runs to my main guitar rig, and the second, the VG800 pickup, is connected to this unit here, which I then plug into, and then that sends the signal down into the VG800. My main guitar rig is a Neural Quad Cortex. I've had this for a little while, and it does everything that I could possibly want it to do. And I've got 8 presets set up that effectively give me the sounds that I want when I'm writing. And effectively these 8 presets pretty much cover everything that I want to do. So I'll switch the volume on because I control the volume of the two units using 2 separate volume pedals underneath the desk. So the first channel on the Quad Cortex is just a clean chorus sound. Second sound is a crunch sound. The third channel is a heavier rhythm lead sound. And then the final channel is an absolute searing gain lead for playing solos. Now those 4 are basically captures from a Mesa Boogie Mark V amp, and they're stereo capture, so there's two different models, one in the left channel and one in the right channel, which I can then blend. So each one of these tracks gives me two distinct guitar sounds that I can then mix together or use individually, but I can literally double track in one take, which is brilliant. But then I take it a step further. The bottom set of banks are where I'm using two different types of amps. So the first one is clean and crunch together. And the way I've got it set up is the clean amps go to one stereo set of outputs, the crunch amps go to another, so I get 4 channels of audio when I'm recording. It's very 1980s Rush, because that's exactly what Alex Lifeson did. Then my second channel is clean and lead. And then the next one is crunch and lead. It's the ultimate rhythm. And then the final one is just my lead sound again. So that's the sounds. So basically, I've got all the sounds I could possibly want. Literally, the combination of this guitar and the neural quad cortex gives me all the sounds that I need when I'm writing. But then we add the magic of the VG800 using the synth pickup. I'm effectively using the second pickup as like a utility where I've got sounds that I just can't get from standard guitar, so like nylon string acoustic. Standard acoustic, but stereo, two different acoustics, one pan left, one pan right. If I switch the control button, I get 12 string. And I've got a whole bunch of sounds set up in here that again give me another set of songwriting palettes. And because I've got both of these together, it really is like having your cake and eating it. So I can have clean and crunch together and an acoustic guitar on top. So effectively, either 3 stereo tracks or 6 mono tracks of audio that when I capture a take, I can then come back to later and decide what's the right mix of blend of guitar sounds that's going to be right for the song. Or clean and acoustic. The clean and acoustic together work brilliantly, particularly when you coil tap this pickup and have the in-between position. So that's it. I have this amazing guitar back. Not only have I got it back, it's not just sitting in the corner gathering dust. It's become the absolute #1 writing guitar. I can do everything I can possibly imagine on this, literally with one guitar and all of the effects and stuff at my feet. The only thing that limits me is my imagination as a writer and a player. So to the chap that got in touch, well, I want to thank 2 groups of people. One, the Yamaha SG Appreciation Facebook group, because without them this would never have happened. And the chap that sold it back to me. I am so indebted to have this back. And even more so that it's not just an heirloom, it's a working instrument. And I'm going to enjoy this for years. And one thing I guarantee, I am never selling this again. Thanks for watching.